What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, have you heard of Jerry Harris? Have you heard of what's been going on over at Netflix? And I ain't even talking about the Cooties thing. There's another thing here that's going on. This is not a good year for Netflix, guys. We have more sickness at Netflix. And this guy, Jerry Harris, apparently is some type of breakout star for some documentary that they've been running on there called Cheer. All right. Cheer apparently is a documentary that is following, I guess it's a group of cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders are women, the cheerleaders are men, and Jerry Harris apparently is one of them. All right. So it says here that he is in trouble. He is under investigation for the alleged abuse of minors. All right, so what's going on over at Netflix? It must be something in the water. They better change the water cooler. I don't know. Don't take a sip of that water. But here it is. And this story, I saw it on Fox News, right? And Fox News goes on to say here, the headline, critics rip Netflix for condemning Jerry Harris's alleged abuse of minors after defending Cooties. So yes, they're defending Cooties, this movie that nobody wants to see, but they want to just push for this thing because they believe in it so much. They want to show that the abuse of actual children to make this movie was worth it to expose the reality of the abuse of children. And on this side, you have Jerry Harris, who apparently was abusing children. All right, so now they want to condemn him while promoting this movie at the same time. How does that work? Somebody explain it to me. All right, so it says here, the streaming service has seen a wave of cancellations just wash over me. A wave of cancellations following the release of the French film, Ooh La La, Oui Oui. All right, it says here, Netflix raised eyebrows on Thursday while addressing the arrest of Cheer star Jerry Harris, who's been accused of sexually abusing minors amid the fallout of its controversial film, Cuties. Man, the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois confirmed in a press release that Harris, 21, was arrested for allegedly enticing an underage boy to produce sexually explicit photos and videos of himself. He has been charged with one count of producing child A criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Chicago alleges that Harris contacted a male minor using a social media app. You got to watch those social media apps, guys, especially when it comes to the kids. They got a million different ways to get to the kids. You notice how when you download these apps, it always says, do you give us permission to access your photos and your contacts and all this stuff? It's a trap, guys. You got to watch out for this stuff, man. And I'm reminding myself, as I speak, because my son, he's got his phone too. And God knows it's a never-ending responsibility to stay on top of that. And repeatedly enticed him to produce sexually explicit videos and photos of himself and then send them to Harris. All right, rewind that. A criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Chicago alleges that Harris contacted a male minor using a social media app and repeatedly enticed him to produce sexually explicit videos and photos of himself and then send them to Harris. Well, it kind of sounds like the auditioning process for Cuties now, doesn't it? It's like they did want these kids, through their parents, their goofy-ass parents, who will do anything for a buck, to send them videos and photos of these girls twerking and dancing and shaking their butts and spreading their legs and bending over. We've all seen it. All right, so it's not just me. It is what it is. This is what these kids were doing, right? But somehow that's different than what Harris was doing. Are you sure? Do you know everyone who saw those videos of those girls? Do you know all the people who had contact with those girls? Are we sure? I think that's what the investigation is trying to figure out, right? So it says here, the minor victim allegedly told the Netflix personality that he was just 13 years old. He was 13. Harris is scheduled to make an initial court appearance today at 2 p.m. CDT before U.S. Magistrate Judge M. David Weissman in Chicago. The charge of production of child carries a minimum sentence of 15 years in prison and a maximum of 30 years. Now, a representative for Harris did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment on Thursday, but on Monday, a spokesperson for the Netflix star told TMZ, "We categorically dispute the claims made against Jerry Harris, which are alleged to have occurred when he was a teenager. We are confident that when the investigation is complete, the true facts will be revealed." And yes, that sounds just peachy, doesn't it? Except for the fact that there are many articles that are out there now that says that Jerry Harris actually confessed to the crime. So I guess now that he's got a good, solid, expensive legal team behind him, which probably was in part paid for by Netflix, he feels confident to kind of say now that it's wrong. I will be cleared once all the facts come out. He's already confessed to it, depending on the other news sources. But I guess it'll all come out, whatever, money talks. A Netflix spokesperson told Fox in a statement on Thursday, "Like everyone else, we are shocked by this news. Any abuse of minors is a terrible crime, and we respect the legal process." Okay, this is where they messed up at. They say any abuse of minors. You don't think that having hundreds of little girls dancing for strangers, you don't think that maybe that constitutes as an abuse of minors? You think that all of those little girls were cool with that, dancing in front of guys who they didn't know and all of that? It's like I said before, none of them have reached the age where they can fully comprehend what it is that they were doing. I would think that that would at least lead to a little bit of confusion, wouldn't you? Well, I don't know. All right, it says here, however, Netflix's condemnation of abuse towards minors comes just days after the streaming giant defended its film Cooties, sparking criticism online. The Cooties cast could not be reached for comment, the popular pro-Trump personality Jewish deplorable quipped. Of course, it's got to say pro-Trump, because once you say that, you discredit the whole thing, right? I tell you guys, Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's like all you have to do is name check Trump and your whole argument is null and void. It's like that's the way it is. So that's what this article here is doing by saying their popular pro-Trump personality, Jewish deplorable. All right, so that's what they had to say. Also, Netflix, please continue to watch Cuties for your daily dose of twerking 10-year-olds. Turning Point USA senior contributor Rob Smith reacted. The Daily Caller's Mary Margaret Olahan juxtaposed Netflix's statement to the viral clip from Cuties, showing young girls seductively dancing as part of a dance completion. All right, so in other words, they're taking heat for being hypocrites. And they are. They're being absolute hypocrites. It's like, how are you going to, against the better wishes of probably billions of people around the world who don't want to see this and feel that it's inappropriate, but Netflix, how you can say that you're going to run this anyway, despite the objections of all of these people. All right, you just have to put this out there. We have to expose the abuse of children by abusing children, and that makes it okay. They're just collateral damage. But on the other side, you're going to turn to this dude, who did what he did, and you're going to condemn what he did. As a matter of fact, Jerry Harris, whatever the hell your name is, all you have to do to beat this charge is say that you were doing some type of research. You were attempting to shed light on the abuse of minors. You weren't actually abusing minors. You were just trying to bring attention to it. You were trying to expose it while you were exposing yourself. You were trying to expose the problem. You see, that's the tricky part right there. People just don't understand Jerry Harris. He's a hero. All of this backlash, all of these charges against Jerry Harris, is just another attempt to keep a black man down. That's all it is. Just like what's going on with the writer, director of Cuties. It's a conspiracy. That's all it is. But anyway, guys, listen, that's the story. And I just wanted to put it out there with you guys so you can see the ongoing twisted hypocrisy and degeneracy, shout out to Ellen, of, Netflix and what's going on there. At least that's the way I see it, guys. Maybe you see it as two completely different stories. Maybe you see it as two completely different phenomenons, and there's no hypocrisy there whatsoever. Get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this, all right? And you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and I am going to leave the link to this article as well as the link to my Twitter page so you can follow me on Twitter in the description box below, okay? So feel free to check me out. All right, guys, that's it for now. I will check you on the next one. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.